Hello, welcome to the StellaLife Innovators series. I'm Liz Lundry, and today I'll be talking with Dr. Sammy Noumbissi. Dr. Noumbissi is a master of implantology with published abstracts and articles in peer-reviewed dental journals. He lectures internationally and focuses his research on bioceramics and their use as regenerative, implant, and restorative materials. He's the founder of the International Academy of Ceramic Implantology, which he continues to lead, promoting advanced implant education with a strong emphasis on the biological and material sciences underlying implant dentistry. Welcome, Dr. Noumbissi, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. This is such an exciting field, and as I have myself a holistic approach as a clinician, I'm excited to learn more about what you're doing. And why should dentists familiarize themselves with ceramic implants?
Well, this is a very good question. As you know, and as most people are aware, there's a change in approach in how people want to be treated, what type of treatments they want to accept, and what types of food they even eat or buy. So we see that over the last 15, 20 years, you can even look around your neighborhood. There's a lot of organic supermarkets, a lot of organic everything, even dry cleaners.
Yes.
This is to say, yes, this is to say that, dental implants have been very successful. They started in the 50s, 60s. Uh, they did very well. They were made of titanium. Uh, but with that has come along a lot of research and a lot of empirical data. That shows that, what we originally thought of titanium and titanium alloys uh, has changed. What I mean by that is that the material, the original implants had a higher titanium content, but in the search for improving the properties of the implants, physical properties, chemical properties, these implants, the titanium alloy implants, took properties that became a little bit of a concern once they were placed in the oral environment for long term. And long term is not the oral environment is not the only environment with that issue. Is also even our colleagues in orthopedics, in medicine, also has these problems.
Yeah.
So, what problems am I talking about? We're talking about sensitivity to the material. Okay, so now we know we see increased reports of metal sensitivity, allergy. Um, we see aseptic failures that have no explanation of dental implants, loss of osseointegration. And research for the last few years has proven that these implants have a corrosion problem. So that what means is that they stay long enough in the body or in the jaw or wherever they're placed, they start to break down. And when they corrode, they create a lot of inflammatory response,
Yeah.
which leads to bone loss. So to come back to your original question, why do dentists need to pay attention to this? Is because we now know the limitations of the material. We now know that it can have an impact on a person's health, on a person's bone. And we also now know that there's a material that's a lot more biocompatible, like zirconia, that can be used as an implant material.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's so interesting because we wouldn't have known these things until they were around for a few decades. And now we're seeing the body's inflammatory response, as a result of having them placed for a while. So it's as, time moves on, we're learning more, right?
that's
So
correct.
do ceramic implants enjoy the same success as titanium implants?
The answer is yes. Personally, in my hands, and I'm one of the, if I may say, the elder statesmen of ceramic implants in North America. I've been doing them for 15 years.
Mm.
Okay. And I have mentors and colleagues in Europe that have been doing placing ceramic implants for 25, some 30 years. So I've seen it all. I've seen my own implants, 15 years. in or out, whichever way you want to look at it. And I've seen other ceramic implants placed by other practitioners that have been patients' mouths for 25 years.
Mm.
So they have the same success rate. However, I always tell clinicians who want to get involved with ceramic implants are a little different. Okay, what I try to mean by that is, for example, titanium implants have been enhanced by having coatings on the surfaces. Okay, so you have the titanium, then you coat it with hydroxyapatite or some other type of ceramic, bioceramic, and you get good osseointegration. Zirconia, on the other hand, there's no commercially available coated zirconia implant. So what that means is that the osseointegration needs to take place directly on the material, directly on the surface of the implant. And for that to happen, you need to have a healthy patient.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that? The patient has to be optimized. You got to make sure the patient is not that their diabetes is definitely under control, that their vitamin D is optimized, magnesium. So there's a lot more investigation into if the patient is capable of healing from the procedure, but also maintaining that bone integration to the implant. So, yes, the act of placing the implant is similar, almost identical, but the process leading to the placement and the maintenance of the implant is a little different. There's a lot more diligence that needs to be done, a little more evaluation of the host, the patient, before even engaging in placement of those implants. But when all those things are done, like what I'm trying to say in a short word, in short, is you have to up your game if you're going to do ceramic implants. You have to make sure your patient is ready for it. And as long as you do that and you correct the deficiencies or improve the certain parameters, you're going to have a very good success with ceramic implants.
And we have to look at their immune system and their nutritional, the D and all that, regardless of what material we're using. I think there's been a concern that the longevity of ceramic implants is not as, as is with the titanium implants. But it sounds from your experience, the experience of clinicians globally, this seems to have a great long-term service life with the ceramic implants. So, to avoid the metal allergy and all that. It just sounds like it's a much better option overall. So I think this is such a fascinating topic, and I think we all need to learn more and again how to up the game, right? And you
Yeah.
have an upcoming conference that you're hosting on ceramic implants and the last 15 years of ceramic implantology. Why should one attend and what topics are going to be covered during the event? I looked at the people who are going to be presenting, and you've got an incredible list of top clinicians and researchers that are going to be at this event.
Yes, it's going to be 15 years of the IOCI, the International Academy of Ceramic Implantology. As you well said, we brought a range of very experienced clinicians and researchers, but we also brought these speakers bring with them not only the art of placing ceramic implants, but also the philosophy. Okay,
Mhm.
what comes with it? Yes, it's an implant, but there's a lot that comes with it. That also applies to regular implants, but we're looking at the microbiome. There's going to be a speaker about the microbiome. Because once we place those implants, I don't care if it's the best brand in the world, if it's placed in an environment where the microbiome is unfavorable, we run the risk of failures.
Yes.
Early failure go exactly. So we're going to talk about microbiome. We're going to talk about bone regeneration, modern concepts of osseointegration, because osseointegration has always been seen as just a healing of the bone around the implant. And for that healing to take place initially, there has to be a lot of criteria that needs to be fulfilled.
Yes.
For example, like I was saying a while ago, what's their vitamin D status? What's their mineral status? What's their systemic health? Okay. And then what's the immune system? Because now there's a proven correlation between osseointegration and immunology. And it's a We now talk about um, uh, immuno, immuno, what's the word again? I'm losing immunointegration. Okay, osteoimmunology. I'm sorry. So now we're looking at osseointegration takes place. Yes, but does it take place just because you have the best surface, because you have the best alloy, because you have the best? No, it takes place because the patient is healthy,
Yeah.
because the patient is capable of healing, because the patient can sustain, which is essentially a trauma, because surgery is a trauma. We go and we drill the bone, we place the implants, patient has to be able to heal from that. So then we have speakers about immediate placements of ceramic implants, uh, proper placement of ceramic implants, because ceramic implants are a little different, and that's changing very quickly. But you cannot have very severely angled placed implants because ceramics don't deal well with sharp angles. So again, upping your game, you have to treatment plan well. You have to be very prosthetically driven. Make sure your implants are placed in a manner that they can take the forces of occlusion, you know. And so we're going to cover all these things. We're going to look into lasers. We're going to look into red light therapy, photobiomodulation. That's another component of healing.
Yes.
How we do uh, ex vivo potentiation of PRF. That's going to be presented because the PRF has done very, very well over the years for bone healing, for grafts, for implants, for soft tissue healing. But now we know that if we can potentiate that PRF before we place it into the host. So we're going to have speakers talking about that technology. We're going to talk about low intensity ultrasound.
Mm.
That's another modality that's not new. It's not something we invented. It's something that NASA has been using since the 70s
Yeah.
to preserve astronauts' bone density. Well, we now know that this low intensity ultrasound can help and contribute to bone healing.
Yes.
Orthodontists have been using it for years to promote teeth movement within the bone. So we are going to have an amazing event, a complete paradigm. We're going to show all these new technologies that are only making implantology better. Not only ceramic implantology, but implant dentistry, periodontics, oral surgery. I mean, really modalities that should be in our practices and just help us continue to become better clinicians.
I think it sounds just great. And as a longtime educator and speaker, the understanding, which we're just still learning about the microbiome and using materials that are going to help enhance that and just really doing an individualized treatment plan and using all of these different modalities depending on the needs of the patient. This is going to be a great conference. And then, with StellaLife also fitting into helping to protect that microbiome. This is a perfect fit because I know you use that in your practice as well. So this is going to be
Yes,
a great conference. It's right around the corner. So those of you on this call today, please check out the link so you can register. I think there's still some seats available. So you'd want to,
yes.
get registered right away because this is not to be missed. So Dr. Noumbissi, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And thank you everybody for joining. And you'll all enjoy the conference and looking forward to seeing everybody on our next Innovator series. Thanks again, Dr. Noumbissi.
Thank you.